Okay, so here we are, grade 5s. We are going to start our project showing Judaic symbols and personal themes based on the native Aboriginal Australian dot art that we learned about in class. So the materials that you're going to need that I will of course provide are as follows. You're going to get your black paper, your good copy paper. You will need a pencil. You will need a white gel pen, possibly, maybe not. You will get, to share, we will have these little containers. I'm going to fill them up with these colors of fluorescent acrylic paint. So they're going to be glow in the dark. We're going to try it out anyway. Hopefully it'll work, and which I'm very excited about. And so you'll have paint to choose from that'll be in these containers. It'll be easier for everyone to share. And you can do your own Judaic symbol, but I also have cutouts that you can use to create your center pattern. And let's start. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, oh, I forgot. Lastly, you will need some water, you will need some paper towel or tissue, and you will be getting a selection, maybe not as many as these, and I think that some of these are, you probably get 2 or 3 of these different sized erasers. And I don't know if you can see that they're actually different looking, and this one I forgot to wipe off, so it still has the paint on it. And these are what we're going to be using to create dot art. And I'm going to show you, you'll probably have 2 that you work with. They could be these 2 or these 2. And we'll show you how that's going to work. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to design. I'm going to leave the paint out for now. And I'm going to leave the dot tools out for now. But I'm going to just take my pencil and I'm going to decide on my template and what I want to do. So maybe I want to do a Magen David. So I'm going to try that. And you can do it. I'm going to have 2 different templates. You can draw it on your own, or you can use one of my templates. And you're not really going to see the pencil. So if you want to, you can start with pencil and then go over it with the gel pen. But I'm going to center it, and I'm going to actually just go right to the gel pen. I'm using all my fingers to hold this down. Now, you can just leave it like this, or you can add the parts, the cutout parts in the middle. Okay, so that is done. Now, I want to, just like when I used, I created a symbol, something that was a feather, that's something that I wanted to do. It represents me, I guess, a little bit. I love birds. I didn't want to be too obvious. I thought a bird was a little too hard to draw, but I did a feather and I used the gel pen for that. You don't have to add a personal symbol if you don't want. You can just use your Judaic symbol, but if you want to, you can. And I am going to, for this one here, I'm going to use a pencil first. I'm going to do the letter C, which is the first letter of my name. And for my inside design for this, I'm going to not use dot art. I want to do something on the inside. Do you remember we did Zentangles last year? You can do something like a Zentangle pattern using lines, using shapes. Make it creative. Figure out how you want to do it. Notice how I turn my paper around as I'm doing my design. I don't want to smudge the gel pen while it's wet. So the next step that we're going to do is we're going to start thinking about our colors that we're going to use to paint and the technique of doing dot art. So I'm going to start with looking at my tools, and I like to start with kind of like a bigger dot, not a little dot. I use the little dot to fill in, like over here, if you can see over here, I use the little dots to fill in areas, and sometimes I use it to go on top. The thing with the dot art is you have to really master the precision. So we'll probably do a test first before you start, and I will give you a small little piece of black paper, and you can do a few dots to really get the technique, because you want to hold your eraser straight up, okay? You're not using it on the side at all. It is an up-down technique. You also don't want to push down too hard. It's just like a touching the paper and lifting up, and that will stick the paint to the paper. So I'm ready to start, and I'm just going to use the cap. It's just easier for me to do it right out of the cap. You're going to have this, like I said, a little jar here, and you can use it right out of there. And I'm going to start with my big eraser, my full size, and I want to do the center of the Magenta Vide. And I'm just going to start. And I basically hold my pencil straight up. I'm going to start at the top, and that way I'll move my paper around. So I'm going to start over here. Tap, tap, tap. So you can see as I go down, I can only maybe get 2 or 3 paints. Every time I dip, I'm just touching very lightly. I'm not pushing it in all the way, just getting the paint on there. And I'll go tap, tap, tap. And by the third one, you can see I need to pick up more paint. You also want to be mindful of how close you're putting them together. You want them to be close, but not touching. And when you touch the paper, you're basically just lightly tapping the paper. You're not pressing, you're tapping. You can see I'm turning my paper. You may want to pick it up every 2 dots. And you can see maybe I'm running out of paint in here, so I might want to redo that one a little bit. If you find that your paint is coming up with a lot of dark in it, it might mean that you are running out of paint. So you just have to pick up a little bit more, or ask me and I will give you more paint. See there, that one right there, there's a lot of black there. I need more paint. I might be running out. So now I'm finished with my large pink dots. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a tissue and basically wipe off the color, okay? Or you can just go, to the sink and just clean it off. You want to make sure it's clean because you're going to use it again with a different color or maybe the same color, but you do have to make sure that you wash off the eraser part. Now I'm going to have to wait till this dries a little bit, but while I wait till it dries, I'm going to look for an area that is partially dry. And I think I'm going to use a different size. Maybe I'll use this size here that's a little smaller. And I'm going to think about my colors. And I'm going to use, let's say I'll use the green. Now I have green and yellow. Don't use both. Use one or the other. They look the same for the most part. And here we go. So now I'm using a different size. Be very careful. Remember, same technique. Dip it, and I'm going to kind of do my outside line. Try and get it as close as you can together. And what you're doing is you're creating patterns using dots. Turn your paper and keep it going. So as you can see, I've done a little bit more. And what I wanted to mention was that the smaller areas, you want to use the eraser with the little, here it is. See, it has a little bit of a pin on it. This is actually the tip of a pin, the ball of a pin at the end. And I use this because I really like it as a tool to get the small dots around that just are filler dots. You don't have to worry about the pattern as much. Even though mine is not dry, and I want you to wait till yours is a little bit drier before you continue, I'm going to start and I'm going to show you what I mean. Now, you're not dipping this all the way in. I don't know if you can see. I'm just dipping it so I can get a little bit of the paint onto that little ball. So it takes a little bit of time to get used to, but you will. So I'm going to start with outlining this part here. Same idea, dip just the ball in. If you get it on the eraser, just wipe it off on the edge of your cup here like that. because you don't want it to drip on. And you really want the outside to be dry. So in some ways, I recommend starting with the inside as opposed to the outside. And I'm going to just be filling in and using color. And I'm going to kind of fill the rest in. But in the meantime, I'm going to finish this up. You don't have to do anything other than the design itself. Like this one, I did not do the background. I just wanted it to be my Judaic symbol of the Hamsa. And I'm going to do the same with this one. So now I'm going to start to fill in. And I'm going to go back to my medium one because I'm mostly dry here. And I'm just going to kind of go around the outside again. And it's okay if it overlaps a little bit. Remember, really, it's so important. You're just tapping it. It's like a light tapping. So I'm pretty much done here. And you don't have to fill everything in. You can leave a little bit of black if you want. You don't have to. That's up to you. But it's mostly done. And the things that I want you to remember are, 1, keep your pencil when you're doing your dots straight up, okay? 2, when you're dipping your eraser circle, whatever size you choose, you're going to touch the paint. Don't press it all the way down. Touch the paint so you get paint on it, and then touch the paper. Otherwise, when you push down, you're going to, and I'm going to show you over here on another piece of paper. When you take your paint, and I'll just do this orange color. When you tap and you push it all the way in, so you push it all the way in, you're actually, you're pulling it away. You can hear that sound. You're not, if you just dab it, you're getting the paint on it, okay? If you're pressing down, you're pulling the paint away and you will get a circle in the middle. So it's just a tap. Tap your paint in, tap, tap, and there. Dab it in again, tap, tap. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 is you want to keep your dots close together without touching, okay? And you will get a little bit of a splatter on your side, but don't worry about that. Anyway, good luck with everything. This takes time. I went away, I came back, I let it dry. You will need to let it dry a little bit so you don't smudge it when you're going in. My suggestion is start on the inside and move out. That way you won't ruin it. Also, turn your page. When you're working on the area that you're working, turn your page, okay? Good luck, everyone, and I can't wait to see them.